the leaders. Thank you for your love and support. I appreciate you all. Another beautiful message from the president of Botswana, Duma Boko. This is a life lesson to all of us. That in this life, no matter how much you try to impress other people, when they don't want to, they don't want to. It doesn't matter how you try to. And when things are not working, we should accept and move on. Whether in relationship or in whatever situation that we find ourselves. These are very important. Sometimes it is very hard. Like he said, he's not advocating for divorce. But when you are in that relationship and you see that the marriage is not working, you can walk out to have your peace. That the society sometimes pushes us into things that at the end of the day, we get stranded on the way. And when we want out, they sit down to be pointing fingers. The same people who put us into that situation will now be looking at it to be some way.
You meet a woman, you think you are the best thing that ever happened to her. No, you are not. You are not. Doesn't matter who you are. You are just a human being relating with this person. As long as they still want to relate with you. If they reach a point where they don't, accept. Thank them for the time that they gave and walk away. That's just the way it should happen. And then I hear, and the Chief Justice mentioned that there are many divorces that are coming up or have been filed, and people are alarmed. Why are you alarmed? You should celebrate that people who have been together have reached a point, and now have reached a point where they don't want to be together, have taken the route that we have laid down to go and break this union. That's what has to happen. Because if it doesn't happen this way, it may happen in other ways that we don't want. And the problem again with the law itself, is that, and that is the challenge that I faced with that couple. It says it's a no-fault. We are a no-fault divorce country. In other words, you don't need to establish fault. In other jurisdictions, they just say, we have irreconcilable differences. And it's enough. In our jurisdiction, you have to say, I caught this person with so and so, and then I chase them, and then this, and then you have to, you actually have to embarrass yourself in order to get out. Yet when you walked in, we didn't interview you, we didn't ask you questions, we didn't even check whether you and this person should even get together. Because maybe if we had at that point, we would have told you, this is not the right thing for you to do at all, or at any rate, not now. But we didn't do that. So to get married, you have to get a witness. The spouse gets a witness. You go to the marriage officer's office and you are married. But when you want out, now you have to go to court. Now you have to allege all sorts of things. Why can't you just say, well, I think I made a mistake here. I shouldn't have gone into this thing. But so in a way, the way society itself looks at these relationships imposes expectations that are unreasonable, puts pressure on people, some of them very young, inexperienced, terribly immature at times. And when they run into problems, we act shocked. And when they go to court now to get out, we frown upon it. I'm not encouraging divorce. Let me be clearly understood. I'm not. I'm encouraging harmony. And where there's disharmony, I'm encouraging people to step back, step away even from each other, and maintain that cosmic harmony that must always prevail. And so gender-based violence arises from, it seems to me, an attitude of non-acceptance of certain realities that will from time to time strike. They may not visit you once or twice. You may think you are cursed. Each time it happens. Next, keep going. Keep going. As long as you are alive, close the chapter and open a different one, without violence, without any recriminations. Because when we sit here and we theorize about these things, they become so detached, so distant. It looks like there are others in society who are immune. No, pastors, professors of whatever subject, everybody, we are all human. And let us accept and understand. So that if the person looks like they want to get out, help them get out. Check with them. Are you still in or out? Nicely. No fights. This is maturity, emotional, psychological maturity. But for you, it is beyond just maturity. It is part of your training, part of your psyche, the discipline that you've been trained in, and the danger that you pose because you know how to take a life. So don't take it. The reason they trained you this way is so that you appreciate. And ultimately, you respect the sanctity of human life. And gender-based violence is a gross violation of the sanctity of human life. It is a violation of the bodily integrity of a fellow human being, regardless of what this fellow human being may have done or not done. And I must raise the issue that I've raised, because not only has it been misconstrued and distorted, it has, there's an informal gathering, we call it Stingy Men's Association. There's another one called Men's Conference. After I made these remarks, I received threats from them. At the next meeting, we're going to expel you. And I wrote and said, no, you can't expel me without a hearing. You must summon me to a trial and I'll come and defend myself. But here's what I'd said. And I put it in very simple terms. I said, I'm now trying to badge. In fact, I'm trying to badge. I said this. And I believe this. I believe it. But what does it mean to give in this manner? It is not transactional. Don't give because you expect something in return. Don't give because you are buying a favor or you impose a set of expectations about your gift or your giving. No. Give because it's a good thing. Makes you feel good. Doesn't matter what this person does. It's a good thing to help, to give to a fellow human being. And on this note of discipline, I know fully well. Uniformed, armed, trained, disciplined, as you all are. You are human beings, creatures of flesh and blood. You enter into relationships. You live in families. You get married. You bear children. You face the same challenges every human being faces. You face betrayal. You are not immune from it because you are soldiers, trained. It affects everybody, all of us. It affects the best amongst us. We must also anticipate this and prepare ourselves, fortify ourselves, not so that these things don't happen to us. They will happen. They have to happen. We cannot control whether they happen or they don't happen to us, each and every one of us. What we can control, though, is how we react to all these things. You have full control over how you react. And sometimes we theorize, We speak in terms of serene detachment from the problems. We think the problems affect others and not us. They affect all of us. Infidelity in marriages, in love affairs, will strike at any point. We must understand this. And some will say, go for counseling. Well and good. Do counseling if it works for you. I'm told it works. I've never tried it. At least not in the manner that it is done, in the institutionalized manner. The type of counseling I have experienced and I have found useful. And I always want to humanize these things. Make them as human and relatable as possible. I once had a friend who went through some harrowing experience in his relationship. He was devastated, miserable. And I did not know how to deal with this. He was older than me, so I couldn't purport to have any experience that I could share. But then I remembered there was another friend who had gone through even worse and survived with such courage and fortitude. And so I decided to bring these two folks together. So I got them into the car and I drove. And I said to the one, our brother here has a problem. But before we deal with this problem, please relate to him what you have experienced. And he told the story. And when he finished, our miserable friend was smiling and laughing and asking questions and engaging. He was no longer miserable. You know why? He had weighed on the balance his problem against what this guy was relating. And he realized what he thought was the biggest problem paled into insignificance when put next to what this friend had experienced. And by the time we returned, he was no longer miserable. First, because he saw that things happen and people survive and they become happy. And he realized that he was wasting his time wallowing in misery and self-pity. And for some, actually, who don't get some intervention or the kind that I engineered for this friend, some end up brutalizing, inflicting grave injuries, and even taking lives. It happens. It has happened in relation to some of us, not all. On a tiny, minuscule scale, it is still important. It still taints the disciplined Botswana Defence Force. And we need to deal with it. We need to anticipate these challenges and remain in full control of how we react. How we react. And sometimes you must react by not reacting at all. And it is very important, in fact, all the more important for you, because you, women and men of discipline, are trained to protect lives. You are trained in the use of lethal force. You are experts. You can put together some contraption and kill someone. You know how to do it. You are trained. That's all the more reason why you must never use these skills to take the life of a civilian or take any life in any non-combat situation. Even in war, you know, when you've subdued the enemy, humanitarian laws the conventions impose an obligation on you to be humane. You know, even in a war situation, you are not there to gratuitously and egregiously apply force and take life. No. You are there to defend. And you will take life in the course of defending, because it is absolutely necessary in the circumstances. Even our Constitution allows it. Section 4 of our Constitution says, as it recognizes the importance of life, you can take another human's life where you are defending your own life or the lives of your family members. In fact, the Constitution is so generous as to say under Section 4 that you can take life in the defense of your property. We know. But you are trained. That is why you have a red book, I think it is red, regulating the use of lethal force. You account for every bullet. It is strictly regulated because you are women and men of discipline. How then can we deploy these special skills? Not to defend, not to protect, but to maim and kill. It soils the good name of the defense force. It tarnishes the disciplinary record of the Botswana Defense Force. But these things are real. So we need to find ways of engaging with our troops, sensitize them to the fact that these things will happen. We're not angels, and we're not in heaven here. I'm sure the chaplain might share with us some experiences of how heaven sounds or how it feels. But we are here. And in this world, which is not heaven, things will happen to all of us.
Especially that when we are going into these things, sometimes we go into these marriages very early, not knowing what. And we don't even understand what we are doing at that point. The moment everything clears up, we want out. And people will not see them and they don't understand why you want out. And you have to now be explaining yourself. By the day you were meeting each other, there was nobody you explained anything to. You met in secret. Yet when you want to walk out, the whole world, you must answer to everybody. You must answer to everybody. Explain yourself why you want out. But when you were meeting, nobody was there. So we should be able to walk out of situations. And this brings us to real life situation. That even when you go to war, you understand things. You know that this system or these tactics are not working. When things are not working, you just have to understand that things are not working and know what to do at what point in time. Like our situation currently in Africa, we know that things are not working for us. The systems that were given to us, they gave them to us and we don't understand. Like Professor Lumumba said, we don't even know the meaning of democracy in our language. Yet, we have this. So why not work out of these systems that were given to us that we have no idea of? We don't understand how they work. We only know that democracy is this and that and that. They find and explain to suit somebody's own interest and somebody's environment. And then we are brought the same thing and we are taught and we memorize. And we think that that is what it is. Yet we don't know. And anything that we don't have it in our language, understanding it is very difficult. So why not be able to walk out of the systems that were given to us that we know that do not align with the African way of doing things, and we are still holding on to the same thing. So if we are preaching that when we enter into relationship and things are not working out, we need to walk out. It's the same thing that we need to walk out of every system that was imposed on the African. These things were given to us and we didn't have knowledge of. We are holding on to them, practicing them, and things are not working. We know that the things have failed us. Why not choose another path that we think when we do our things will favor us? They gave it to us at a tender age where we didn't understand nothing. But now we have grown. We have tested everything and we've seen that things are not working. So we don't need to go and tell A, B, or C. And like he said, when a woman doesn't want you, he doesn't want you. Just the same way they don't want us. And there's no way we can ever change their heart towards us. Because they have the notion of the African at a certain stage. And that is why these same people are fighting for dependency, yet they want the African to continue to be dependent on them. And they believe that we cannot do anything without them. So the African must always be here for them to come and tell us what we should be doing at what point in time. And the moment the African says, no, we can decide our fate, then they don't understand. Like the Russian president said, they don't understand why people should be in control, people should be in charge of anything, because they believe that they must dictate the terms and conditions to people. They believe that they must always be the people to rule. So we don't need to explain anything to anybody why we need to be out. Like the leaders in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have decided to choose their path. They don't need to explain to anybody why we have to nationalize our resources, why we decide that democracy is no longer the good thing for us. We can divorce anything that was given to us that we think that doesn't align to our things that we are doing here, because we have tasted them. And we have seen that they are not working. So must we continue to be holding on to these same things that are not working, that are not bringing any change in our life? So when you look at what he's talking about, it's not only about relationship, marriage. No, it goes beyond that. In life, we need to be able to say, I have reached a point that I think that these things are not working, so let me break free. And when you look at the African continent right now, that is the road at which we are. And we only need bold leaders to walk away with that explanation, explaining ourselves to anybody. Because when they were giving it to us, they didn't explain anything to us. They only came and gave it to us. So why is it that we want to check out and we have to now go and be explaining things to them, begging them to now approve? Like he's saying that you now have to go to the court, go to this person, explain yourself, now have to fabricate things, the reason to which you want out, which is supposed not to be the case. If you want out, you want out now. When you are tired, you are tired. I think this goes so much to our leaders, that the time for divorce has come, that we need to divorce the people that we are married to for all these decades, and yet we don't see anything meaningful out of this relationship. So it is time we walk out of the relationship and choose another path and see how things are going to turn out. It's very important. We need to know the tactics, we need to know everything before we decide that this is what we actually want to do. And if they are not working, we just have to say goodbye to it, like he's advocating for. We are the only ones that can set ourselves free. United we stand, divided we fall, and united we keep standing forever and ever. The greatest enemy of the African is mental slavery. So let's colonize ourselves from mental slavery. Let's keep sharing to educate our brothers and sisters. Together we make Africa great for ourselves and the next generations that are going to come. So that's the latest around the world. In Africa, Southern Africa, and in Botswana.